That was years ago. We pranked. This guy fell down in front of the camera like he passed out.
Jeez. We'll do that.
Westfield Memorial Hospital provides high-quality health care to residents of Western New York, offering patients the most sophisticated medical advancements while keeping the ease and familiarity of a community hospital. Support for Chautauqua Sunrise has been provided by WRFA 107.9 FM, Jamestown's public radio station, streaming online 24/7 at WRFALP.com. Low power to the people. Meter's Restaurant, a family tradition for over 50 years in downtown Ripley, is a proud supporter of Chautauqua Sunrise. Meter's provides all-day dining, banquet services, and custom catering, specializing in pie. Funding for Chautauqua Sunrise is provided in part by the Chautauqua County Industrial Development Agency, with offices in Jamestown and Dunkirk, helping businesses to prosper throughout Chautauqua County. From supporting people with disabilities to enjoy great lives, to providing health care services that are available to anyone, the Resource Center has been improving our county for more than 60 years. Learn more about how the Resource Center makes a positive difference in people's lives.
Is getting vaccinated on your to-do list? We can help you check it off, because we make getting vaccinated easy. You've got this, because we've got you. To learn more, visit yougotthis.usaging.org.
From the Access Chautauqua Studios in Mayville, it's Chautauqua Sunrise. Chautauqua Sunrise is hosted by Doc Hamels and supported by the award-winning volunteers at Access Chautauqua. We are here to share local news, colorful interviews, and events of interest to everyone. Chautauqua Sunrise is broadcast live Saturday mornings each week from 9 to 10 a.m. Send events via email or call us live. Check us out on YouTube and Facebook. And now, from the Access Chautauqua Studios, it's Chautauqua Sunrise.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Chautauqua Sunrise. I'm Doc Hamels, and I hope you're all doing well. Randy, what a ride in today to the studio. It was truly a Chautauqua Sunrise. I was coming in from Ripley and heading towards, I think it was Sherman, so I'm kind of going a southeasterly direction, and that sun came up right on the horizon. It was fabulous. It was really a beautiful morning. Hope you're all doing well and that you're enjoying this kind of nice fall weather that we're having, sort of still kind of like on the borderline of summertime and a little bit of fall. We got the leaves falling and so forth, and it's just been a nice stretch so far, and the weekend looks pretty good. So good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Want to do a shout out to all my friends in the Ukraine who are watching, Natalia and friends, and then James, if you're watching down in Kenya, Africa, and anywhere you are in the world, across the United States, throughout the county. We're so glad you could join us today. Always remember, you can watch this show a couple different ways. Right now we're streaming live, but you also can watch us on Spectrum 1301 every day at 2 and 8. And then you can watch us on Facebook, or you can go to YouTube and look up today's show by date or by title, whatever. And we're right now forever there. 535 shows so far. So we'll be there if you want to use this as a reference and say, what were they talking about? You can go back and have a look. All right. Throughout the show, of course, you can call in if you have a question or a comment. If you want to make an announcement for your club or organization, happy to do it. As I often say, if you're shy and you don't want to talk to me directly, I understand. Today, Jeff is manning the phone. We got kind of a skeleton crew here today.
Halloween.
It's Halloween, right? A couple of our guys are working this morning, so they couldn't be here, but Jeff will take your message and get it to us. If not, you can talk to us directly. We're glad to talk with you. Okay. Let's see. I want to remind you, and I'll see if I can do this. it's always backwards for me. I say this every week. Right there is our reminder that this is Breast Cancer Awareness Month and that we want you to remember to get your mammograms, or at least if you have any concerns, to get checked out. And I don't care what it is, whether it's a concern that you may have on your body or your health or whatever it is, we always are procrastinators. This is not one that you want to put off, okay? If you have any concern, check it out. Go to the doctor's office, let them have a look, and get a mammogram, okay? A lot of people catch this stuff early and you can be treated and you're good to go for another 50,000 miles, all right? So please remember, men and women get breast cancer. And I've been seeing some posts on Facebook that some men have said, yeah, they had breast cancer. And we don't think of it that way, but yeah. So think about that a little bit. Wanted to tell you that throughout the show, I mentioned that you can call in. I don't think we posted the phone number, did we? It's 753-5225, okay? 716-753-5225. Give us a call. And throughout the week, if you have an announcement and you're watching this later on, email me at chautauquasunrise@gmail.com and we'll get it on for you, okay? So that being said, I like to always share with you some things that are going on locally that I'm concerned about. And a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about grape harvest and things like that, and being careful with folks coming in and out of the fields. Pretty much done. This week's concern is ticks. You might say, what are you talking about? We live out in the rural area. Remember we had a really mild winter last year? Well, bees, hornets, ticks, you name it, they are like crazy this year. So if you're walking out in the woods or you're walking your dog, please be careful, because as we all know, ticks can carry Lyme disease and you don't want that. So if you're out in the woods, make sure you spray down yourself, maybe put some ointment on your dog, whatever is safe for your dog, cat, whatever. And, please be careful. I've already been bit twice this year, and fortunately I got the tick out quick, but it's painful. It's not like a mosquito bite, it's even worse. So, and Brody comes home after a little walk in the woods, and I got to pick off like 4 or 5 off his nose. He's long hair, so I got to look around for a while. But on short hairs, you usually can find them pretty quick. You might say, well, what's the big deal? They're little tiny guys and you don't even realize they're on you. So check your clothes, check your dog, check everything. All right, hopefully we'll get a good frost and that'll take care of that. All right, today we have a theme going throughout the show, and that is we're going to be talking about working together, stronger together, working on knocking down divisions among ourselves. Right now, I mean, I'm not telling you something you don't know. We keep hearing this right now throughout our country, wherever the world. We're splitting up into camps, all right? It's election season or whatever. You might be a Dodger fan, you might be a Yankee fan, you might be Buffalo Bills, you might be in Miami. Well, whatever it is, we seem to go off into our own little groups. But today's theme is bringing it together. So we'll get to that in my guest here shortly. All right, I have some announcements to talk about. So let's get started. Ready? Do not say this 3 times. Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice. Stop right there. Michael Keaton returns as the title character in Tim Burton's Beetlejuice, Wednesday, next week, October 30 at 7 p.m. After an unexpected family tragedy, 3 generations of the Dietz family return home to Winter River. Still haunted by Beetlejuice, Lydia's life is turned upside down when her rebellious teenager daughter, Astrid, why didn't I name my daughter that? Discovers the mysterious model of the town in the attic, and the portal to the afterlife is accidentally opened. With trouble brewing in both realms, it's only a matter of time until someone says Beetlejuice's name 3 times, and the mischievous demon returns to unleash his very own brand of mayhem. This show is PG-13. It's 104 minutes long. Then coming up, let's see what we got. Jason Schwartzman and Carol Kane in the comedy Between the Temples. And that's November 6th. Kate Winslet as a photographer and photojournalist. Lee Miller is going to be in the show movie Lee. That's November 13th. It's the biographical comedy about the first episode of Saturday Night Live. Oh, there's another one. The biographical comedy about the first episode of Saturday Night Live will be November 20th. Depends on how you read these commas and semicolons. And then a one-time only special engagement of Cat Video Fest. I've never heard of this before. 2024, that's going to be November 16th, with a portion of the ticket proceeds, oh, nice, benefiting the Chautauqua County Humane Society. So that's going to be Cat Video Fest, November 16th. So a lot of things going on at the Reg, and tickets are only $8, $10, at the box office, $10 online. If you want to give them a call at 484-7070, you can get your tickets. So lots of fun things going on at the Reg. And of course, this is that time of year where they're showing kind of spooky things for Halloween. All right, speaking of Halloween, let's go to Dunkirk. Dunkirk Recreation Department wants to tell you that they'll be hosting a Halloween event on October 30th from 4 to 7 p.m. Trick-or-treating will take place outside between Central Station Restaurant in the Stearns Building. Inside the Stearns Building, Halloween movies, arts, and crafts and refreshments will take place. Kids of all ages are welcome and should wear their costume. On Halloween, the actual day, the City of Dunkirk trick-or-treat hours will be from 4 to 7. Please contact Alexis Toffel at 366-9877 for any questions regarding Halloween, and happy Halloween from them. Just a special note, I know that when I was a town councilman in Ripley, one of the biggest decisions we had to make every single year were what were the hours for trick-or-treating. So I would encourage you to call your town building, your town clerk, and they can tell you what the hours are for trick-or-treating, because it varies from town to town. All right, we got a cool fundraiser coming up here. Let's go to slide 16, Jeff. Applebee's Flapjack and Basket Raffle Fundraiser. It's going to be held November 9th, okay, from 8 to 10 a.m. Tickets are $10. This is going to help out the Northern Chautauqua County Foundation. Wait a minute, Northern Chautauqua County Foundation Service Learning Mini Grant Program, and they get money and then they give it back out to different organizations for little mini grants. This is really cool. So let our volunteers serve you a hot breakfast, it says. Mini grants incorporate service learning in the classroom, impacting students and community members. These grants are available annually to all Northern Chautauqua County school districts. During breakfast, sign up to win a $100 grant for your favorite charity. During the event, be sure to enter their basket raffle. There is a basket for everyone. Tickets are $10. They look forward to serving you on November 9th. See, I'm trying to look here. In the baskets, there are 2 passes to the National Comedy Center, 4 tickets to a Buffalo Bisons game, Katie Loxton bracelet from Kirk's Jewelers. I don't know anything about that, but it must be a really cool brand. Gift cards for Blaisdell Pizza, gift card for Domus Fair, bronze membership for Chautauqua Children's Gym, and just a whole bunch more. So that's coming up November 9th. All right, keep on going. Still on Halloween. The annual Chautauqua Safety Village Halloween Fun Fair will take place on Wednesday, October 30th from 4 to 7:30 p.m. at the Safety Village, located over on Route 394 in Asheville. They're on the same property as the Hughes Educational Center, BOCES, okay? Get your costumes ready and join them for a spooktacular night of fun. This year, guests will enjoy a wide range of activities. Admission is only $5 per person. Ages 2 and under are free, and includes trick-or-treating among 26 village buildings, crafts and kid-friendly ghoul houses, 2 bounce houses, weather permitting, and activities. Ace Kettle Corn will be back selling their amazing kettle corn. Cups and Cones will be selling ice cream, and there will be a variety of concessions available, so plan to stay for dinner. Tickets are available for pre-sale at this address online, Chautauqua Safety Village, all one word, .com, but will also be available at the event. Admissions will close at 6:45. Safety Village members and pre-sale ticket holders get to use the Fast Pass admission lane. Sounds like Disneyland. We are running a special, they say. If you purchase a 2024 Safety Village membership before the fun fair, you will get free admission to this year's Halloween Fun Fair and holiday, jubilation as an added bonus. Jubilation? I don't know, maybe that's for Christmas. A huge thank you to Serta Simmons, Lakeshore Savings Bank, SKF, and Chautauqua Fire Department for being this year's event sponsors. If you've got any questions, give them a call at 338-0170. 338-0170. My Rotary Club, the Westwood Mayville Rotary Club, will be handing out candy at our pavilion. We have a pavilion there. It's an outdoor kind of like lunch area, picnic area pavilion, and they're going to be handing out candy, plus the other 25 buildings. So it's a lot of fun. Kids always have a good time, and if you go to the Safety Village, you know everything's going to be safe. There's not going to be any issues about kids crossing streets and that, and just lots of kids come every year. So, and I'm a proud helper on that project for many years. I was on the board of directors, so it's very, very cool. All right, we're going to Jamestown now, slide 18. The Chautauqua County Department of Mental Health, Hygiene's no, let me try that again. I put a word in there, it shouldn't be there. Chautauqua County Department of Mental Hygiene, Jamestown Certified Community Behavioral Health Center, that's a mouthful, is launching a new peer-led therapy group to support parents navigating the dual challenges of mental health treatment in raising children. This is a tough subject. The group, facilitated by Liz Witherspoon, is open to all clients of the clinic who are actively parenting, whether mothers, fathers, step-parents, or other caregivers are involved. The goal of the group is to foster a sense of community and shared experience where participants can connect with others who understand the unique difficulties of parenting while managing mental health. The group offers a safe, inclusive space for parents to share their experiences and learn from each other, says Witherspoon. We'll explore topics like parenting expectations and how mental health treatment can influence parenting styles. Having been a special ed teacher and administrator over the years, this is crucial. Parents need a support group, so I might recommend that you check it out if this is a concern. And you don't have to be the parent. You can be the grandparent. You can be the next door neighbor. You could be a brother, sister, whatever. Okay, so the group will meet starting, well, they already started October 22nd, but for more information, give Liz Witherspoon a call at 343-2, these glasses are blurry today. I'm having to move it around. 343-4289. 343-4289. Whew. Next. This one comes up quite often, and this is one that really ticks me off, so I'm going to share it with you. The Southern Chautauqua Federal Credit Union is hosting an educational forum aimed at protecting older adults from financial scams and frauds. A growing concern is scammers increasingly target seniors. I can't begin to tell you how many calls I get every week once they know that you're a certain age, or if you are on some list or whatever. They want your credit card number, they want your social security number, and people get sucked into this, and then they drain down your savings sometimes. The event will provide expert advice on recognizing common scams and offer practical strategies to help other adults, their caregivers, and family members stay safe from financial exploitation. The forum is called Protecting Older Adults from Financial Scams and Fraud. I gotta say, it's just not older adults, it's anybody these days. It's gonna be held at the Southern Chautauqua Federal Credit Union's Community Training Center located at 110 Mall Boulevard in Lakewood. Educating older adults on how to recognize and avoid financial scams has never been more important. Scammers often prey on seniors who may be more trusting, live alone, or face challenges with technology. So you get that email that says, you gotta do this right now or your account's gonna be closed. Or, if you don't call back in 5 minutes, you're going to lose, blah, 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 blah. And they scare you, and you call the number, and the next thing you know, you're in trouble. These sessions are going to be Tuesday, October 29th from 10:30 a.m. and then another one at 6 p.m. Wednesday, October 30th at 1:30. So if you're interested, give them a call at 665-7000, 665-7000, and just ask them about the older adult scam program. All right, 2 more things real quick. Let's go to 19, Jeff. All right, this is a little kind of mark your calendar. There's going to be the Christmas in the Village in Westfield. I believe it's November 22nd and 23rd. Reason I tell you, because I'm involved. I'll be announcing the parade, which is always lots of fun, on the 23rd. I think it's 5:30, 6 o'clock that night. And Westfield's lighting up the place, and it's going to be lots of activities, but we're not going to tell you about it right now. It's just a little reminder that the holiday season is just about here, and that Westfield is going to have Christmas in the Village that weekend. All right, and finally, number 20, we've got a Bluegrass Festival today. We talked about it 3 weeks ago maybe, and it's going to be held at Meter's Restaurant today from 1 to 7. And there's different groups there. You're going to have Old Dog Bluegrass, and then there's a couple other groups, and I will be sitting in with Holly Abers for a little bit. I'm going to bring some instruments today from 5 to 6:30. It's free to get in, so what could be better? But the ticket of admission, of course, is donations, and they're going to have a raffle, and you can win some money. The cool thing is it's all going to help children at Shriners Hospital down in Erie. So today from 1 to 7, the second annual Bluegrass Festival at Meter's Restaurant. I'll be there. We'll see you then. All right, we're going to take a little breather, and we'll be right back with my guests. Stay tuned.
Early voting for this fall's general election in Chautauqua County runs from October 26th through November 3rd.
You can vote at any of our 4 locations: Chautauqua County Fairgrounds, Chautauqua Mall, Robert H. Jackson Center, or new this year, the Carlson Community Center at Lakeside Park in Mayville.
Visit votechautauqua.com for locations and times. Remember, once you vote early, you can't vote again on Election Day.
We will be open at our traditional 48 poll sites across the county on Election Day from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m.
So that's just a reminder that's going on, and it's up to you if you want to go in person or not. We're just commenting on the site. We like to go and make sure we put our mark on there and watch it go into the machine. Other people, because they may be out of town or whatever, they want to get it done early, that's fine, or don't want to stand in line, especially for folks that are maybe wheelchair bound or whatever. This is kind of a convenient thing. All right. My guests have been very patient watching me struggle through some of these long terms and these words and phone numbers. I want to welcome back to the show Amy Rohler, who's in a different position the last time I remember, I think.
I think so too.
And her sidekick, Dan Siracuse, who I know his dad really, really well. Right. So this is really cool. And they are from, well, I'll let you tell us where you're from now.
Well, I'm the executive director of the United Ways of Chautauqua County. Okay. And Dan's with me, and he is the Northern Chautauqua Community Relations Coordinator for the United Ways of Chautauqua County. And you might wonder a bit about the United Ways piece of it.
Yeah.
I think probably some of your viewers might know that there have traditionally been 2 United Ways in Chautauqua County, and just this past year we merged them. Mm-hmm. And so we're really excited about that. It's been quite a lot of work to merge 2 nonprofits.
I've been in the county now, I think I figured it out, for 50 years. Mm-hmm. I came originally from Buffalo, and United Way was a big deal, and you hear about it from time to time. But coming down here, it was the north and the south. But it wasn't just United Way. It was this organization, the North End, and the Northern. And it was always, whenever I would work in the educational field, it was they do that in the north.
Right.
We do this in the south, or whatever the event was. So a lot of people, I know they follow me in the Silver Magazine that I write for the Post-Journal for the last 17 years. And so when I decided to write for them, and I tell this story all the time, that I call it, my title is From Out of the West.
Oh.
I'm not north or south. We live in Ripley. It's the
Right,
West County.
yeah.
Nobody ever talks about us, and if you're over in Ellington or whatever, you can say you're from the east. And so it was sort of a poke at this north and south division, and I can't be any happier than know that you guys have blended that, and that's what we need to do more in this county. We're not that big. There aren't that many people, so why have this? What's the history of United Way? I was trying to think about that. I mean, it's been around as far as I can remember. Is it a long-time organization across the country? Is it just a local thing? What is it?
Well, United Way worldwide is a network of more than 1,800 local United Ways.
1,800?
Yeah, but each United Way in each community is locally operated. It has its own board of directors. We do our own fundraising. We do our own decisions about what we're going to invest in the community, what our strategy is around community impact. But the value of being part of that network is just the recognition of the brand of United Way, which many people are familiar with, and then also a lot of best practices that you learn from your colleagues at other United Ways. So
Okay.
now locally, United Way of Southern Chautauqua County actually started in 1920. So we're more than 100 years old, and the United Way of Northern Chautauqua County was also similarly around I think it was 1935 when they started.
Seniors.
And so they started as community chess, where they just sort of realized that so anyone who played Monopoly, community chess. So the idea was that you sort of, everybody makes a little bit of a contribution, and you're going to be able to help some people better when we're kind of coming together.
Okay.
That sort of philosophy, I think, has continued even to this day, right? Everybody does a little bit, and collectively it makes a big difference to a lot of people. But this year was when we actually merged the two United Ways, and it's been really great.
Good. People, they might be asking themselves, well, why do we have to, pool our money? I give at the church. I support this organization, or what's in my village and so forth. I don't think people understand that there's organizations like the United Ways that are like a blanket, right? They cover a lot of territory. So can you speak to that, or Dan, either one of you?
Well, so one of the things that I think is really important about United Way is that you can give through what's called payroll deduction. So a lot of local employers and businesses allow their employees to give, and that allows you to do it a little bit at a time, right? So you can do that $5 a paycheck or $2 a paycheck, and you might not be able to write a check for that amount, but if it comes out of your paycheck, you don't notice it. Well, that little bit then gets combined with all your fellow employees, and then what we do is we take, those donations, we combine them with donations from UPMC and Cummins and Brooks Hospital and Purina and small business and folks that are
Corporate
retired,
donors
right, and
yeah,
corporate donors.
yeah.
Last year, our two United Ways collectively raised $1.6 million.
What?
Yeah.
$1.6
million. And so we are able to do that because everybody does a little bit. You don't miss it. But collectively, it makes a really big difference. And then we are very strategic about the investments we make with those community dollars.
What do you mean by investment?
So that's kind of some terminology that we use. When we think about what we do with these dollars, we're giving grants to local organizations that are doing really important work in the community around academic success, health and independence, workforce readiness, and self-sufficiency. And that's how we decide what we're going to fund. It's sort of like our framework for how we're going to invest those community dollars.
Okay, I'm going to throw this to Dan right now. Dan, you're telling me you've been with the organization, 6 months now?
About, yeah.
All right,
Just a
so
hair under.
this may be a little unfair, but I'm going to pose it anyways, and you'll be okay with it. So, just trust me, we'll get there when I get done saying what I'm going to say. So I've been in this play called It's a Wonderful Life. All right, George Bailey is distraught because blah, 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 blah. And he says, I wish I was never born. And so the angel takes him and he's not born because the angel wants to show him what would happen if you weren't there. So the question I have for now is, if I was Clarence the angel and said, okay, United Way, you're not there anymore, what would happen?
Well, first of all, I don't know if you didn't know me before this, but that actually is my favorite movie.
Wow.
I have a tattoo of It's Wonderful Life.
Are you
on my
kidding?
arm.
Oh
Yeah,
my,
so-
I am,
so-
we do the radio version. I'm Uncle Billy and 5 other voices.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, I have to be a drunk.
I just do my impressions around the family table at Christmas. But
Okay, so what if the United Way wasn't there?
well, I think what you'd see is, we support so many agencies across the county. I feel like the United Way is something where it's sort of it's sometimes in the background, where you may not necessarily always see the work right out front because a lot of the work is going on behind the scenes. We're helping these organizations, and you hear about us during campaign, but then for part of the year, we're not really present. There's a lot of work going on behind the scenes during that.
Like what?
So it's a lot of working with the donors and working with the businesses and just sort of collaborating and telling them our mission and telling them about what we do and who we serve and how it's helping the public. And the community is ultimately the ones that are raising the money, and the community is the ones that are deciding where it's going. Like, we do our allocations visits, and we talk about, we have and Amy can talk about this a little more, I'm sure, but we have a team of volunteers that basically decide where the money is going to go, and it's the community that ultimately decides that. So if we weren't there, unfortunately, I think the sad reality is a lot of these organizations may not exist.
Right.
And that's just
and
that's
that
just the sad reality.
that's where I
of
was
it.
going with it, is that some of these not-for-profits are so small
Yes.
that, X amount of dollars keeps them floating.
Yep.
And I'm happy you mentioned something, because I have the honor and distinction of been one of those community members for a couple of years ago. Joe Jurowski and I would show up to these meetings not knowing what we were doing at first, and realize that we were actually, I don't even remember who the executive director was. That tells you how long ago. I see his face, glasses, tall, thin man. gosh, his name.
Was it Southern or
Michael,
Northern? Mike Moots.
Moots.
Yes.
Was when Mike was director. Oh, that just came to me. Anyways, Joe and I were on a committee, and we would, and I don't know, pick a community organization XYZ, and they would present to us why they needed $5,000 or whatever it was, and then we had to somehow be so wise in our ways and say, oh, that's a good idea, and they had proven to us that they're worthy of this money. So it's really community members helping you, not just you guys. So there's no favoritism. I mean, it's like is that how this works still?
Well, and we try to have a very diverse pool of volunteers doing this work. We have about 60 people.
Holy cow.
And we put them onto panels, and they do exactly what you and Joe Gerasi did. They do a site visit, because
Right.
I like to say it's very difficult to have insight unless you're on site. So you can talk to the people who are running the programs, ask questions. We look at previous data that they've submitted to us. We look at their audited financials. We look at their application. And these are difficult decisions, and I'm sure it was true in your time, but we always have more requests than money we have to allocate.
Right.
In the last funding cycle, I think we had about $150,000 more in requests.
Wow.
And we, just with agencies, it's $1,147,000 that's invested in those agencies, 34 agencies, 48 programs across Chautauqua County.
In the past, I've also served, and I was stuck on the terminology earlier, the Northern Chautauqua Community Foundation. I'm a board member with them, and I was on the grants committee, and we did almost exactly the same thing. And that really should make people feel good out there that are listening right now, that that all these organizations are listening, and they're bringing in people that are impartial judges, if you will, to help all that process move. And so good on those 60 volunteers, because it's a little bit of work.
We have a slide that maybe now is a good time to bring up, but it shows all of the agencies that are supported by United Way. Yeah, you have it there with you, but you see all the logos of those agencies, and as people look at that, I am sure almost everyone has been touched by a United Way program. They just didn't realize that it was supported by this fundraising campaign that we do.
Now, we're on the radio right now too, remember? So I'm going to go
Right.
really, really fast if I can.
Oh, wow, look at you.
All right, Children's Place, American Red Cross, Boy Scouts, oh my gosh, the Salvation Army, Boys and Girls Club, Chautauqua Lake Child Care Center. What's this one? Chautauqua Adult Services. CBA Vision, what's that?
Chautauqua Blind Association.
Okay.
And I'm going to pause on them, because this is one where I would guess almost everyone has been touched by them, even though you might think to yourself, I don't know anybody who's blind or visually impaired. Well, they do a vision screening process for every child under 6 across Chautauqua County every year. They go to every school district, every preschool, every daycare. They have a piece of equipment that can test vision.
Oh, like a screening thing.
Yeah. And so they can test infants as young as 6 months old before you can ever go to the eye doctor and read that chart.
Yep.
Last year alone, they screened 3,500 children.
Wow.
Totally free to every family, because it's supported by United Way. My own daughter, when she was 3, she was at a church preschool. She got screened. Turned out she needed glasses.
Yeah.
We had never even taken her to the eye doctor.
Wow.
Totally free. And the reason we support that is that when kids enter school, we want them to be ready to learn.
Absolutely.
One key thing to academic success is being able to read that board and having the right tools to help you see clearly.
Absolutely. And again, back to our conversation, Dan, if you guys weren't there, they probably wouldn't be there.
Exactly.
So
Right.
what a great service.
Right.
Let me keep going.
Keep
Chautauqua
going.
County Rural Ministry, one of my favorites, Chautauqua Safety Village, Chautauqua Opportunities, I was on the board there at one time, Chautauqua Striders, Child Advocacy Program, I've worked with them, Community Connections at Finley Lake, Community Helping Hands, used to be with them.
I did.
Cornell University Cooperative Extension, CASA, that's Court-Appointed Special Advocate for Children. Dunker Fredonia Meals on Wheels. Okay, you gotta help me with this one.
Family Service of Chautauqua Region.
Okay.
They do mental health counseling.
Okay, Girl Scouts, of course. The Jamestown Area YMCA. JCLC?
Jamestown Community Learning Council, they do a program called Parents as Teachers, and they go into the home, help parents help their children reach developmental milestones. They have a 2-generational impact because they are working with both parents and kids.
Jamestown Public Market. I used to play for those guys, and that's farm to table, right? I mean, fresh vegetables and fruits.
And mobile markets.
Mobile
So in
markets.
places where there's food deserts,
Yes, that's
they
right.
take their truck and
Right.
they go to those places
Yep.
so that people have access to fresh local
Junior
food.
Achievement, Literacy Volunteers, Meals on Wheels. Is Barry still with them?
Yes, he
I know
is.
Barry. Oh, we got a phone call already. We'll put a little mark right here because I'll be back. Okay, good morning, caller.
This is Linda Spalding. Good morning, Amy and
Hey,
Daniel.
Linda.
And Amy, it's so nice to see you. I remember you when I worked at the Office for the Aging.
We were
just talking about that. I remember you too, Linda. We were talking about the senior aid program. What a great program that was in
It was.
getting
It's
seniors
too bad
into
that
the
it
community.
was given to it's to the Goodwill in Buffalo. The Goodwill in Buffalo has it, and they're really not doing what we did. But they're trying.
Well, nice to hear from you, Linda. I'm glad you're doing well.
Oh yeah, it's so good to see you, and you do great work. And I know that you fund Meals on Wheels and the Adult Daycare Center. And I would always specify when I give to the United Way, Meals on Wheels and Adult Daycare Center, because they're such terrific programs for seniors.
Well, thank you, Linda, for being a donor. I know, helping seniors remain independent and healthy is a really important thing to you. And it's a really important thing to us at United Way as well. It's one of our kind of core outcomes that we're looking to achieve is that seniors remain independent. And so a lot of our programs that we fund are measuring the seniors and the older adults that they are supporting. Meals on Wheels and Chautauqua Adult Day Services are two of those.
Good stuff. Okay. Thanks, Lynn.
Well, it's good to see you on the show, Amy. It's been a long time since I've talked to you, and I wish everybody a wonderful weekend and a happy Halloween.
Oh, same
Happy
to you.
Halloween.
All right. Talk to you next time. Thanks, Lynn.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Super. Yeah.
Now, where'd you leave
Exactly.
off is the question.
As
you know, I could talk about any of these programs in detail if I
Okay,
needed
Mental
to.
Health Association, Chautauqua County. What do they do?
Oh, Mental Health Association. So they provide recovery and support to people who have a substance use disorder or a mental health condition. And that's through support groups, and it's through something really important called peer coaching. So if you are in a recovery journey, you have a peer who's been through it before. This is a certification that New York State gives. And that's a person that you can call and who's been through it. They have a program in Dunkirk and in Jamestown.
Beautiful.
I'm going to pop in here too because
Absolutely.
at my previous job, I worked at Chautauqua Opportunities, one of the places that we support.
COI.
I spent a lot of time in MHA doing work for one of the programs I was with, and I got to see those groups firsthand at MHA. They're fantastic.
Good.
The peer coaches are fantastic. It's very, very impactful work. So when you see it, like Amy said, if you're, what's the thing, insight, onsite,
Yeah,
something
there's
like
no
that.
insight unless you're on site.
So
Well, and the substance use disorder problem in our community is very real. And so
Oh,
having
absolutely.
programs that help people recover wherever they're at in their recovery journey or however they get involved in that recovery journey is absolutely critical.
Right. And as you say, Dan, a lot of these organizations work together, and especially the one that's coming up next, Prevention Works. They've been on the show a number of times, and they're working at all levels of working with youth. And, we've talked about drugs and opioids and all kinds of stuff. And, it's tough out there for some families. And so it's so good to know we got some supports.
Well, and you just said something really interesting, that a lot of these programs work together. And, in addition to supporting these agencies, we do that behind-the-scenes work that Dan was talking about. We do a lot of getting these agencies to collaborate with each other and also building their capacity.
There you go.
Right? And so we know that this is our theme. You mentioned this at the outset. We're stronger together.
Right.
These agencies are going to be able to help more people, and we're going to be able to do better as a community if we're working together and we're working collaboratively and we're working strategically. That's what we do at United Way.
I can't quote any particular group or agency, but 50 years ago, it seemed like there were agencies were almost like competing. And then, when we realized that some of us had some assets that the others didn't, and they had something we could use, that's when you start to pool your resources. And as much as we want to think that this county is wealthy, it's not. It's not a really rich county, and
We have to
every way
leverage
we
those
can-
resources.
Exactly.
Yeah, we have to
so
do that.
I just have a handful more to go. This one's new to me. The Relief Zone Community Youth Center. I don't know
So
what that
that's
is.
located in Frewsburg, and that's really important because they're the only place that does before school and after school learning and for children. So as a working parent, if you're in that community and you need to go to work, you can drop them off at 7 o'clock when you go start your shift, and they get them to school, and then they pick them up afterwards.
What a great
That
idea.
allows families to work, right?
Yeah.
One of the most important issues in our community is childcare. We are also in a childcare desert. There is not enough quality childcare. And so a program like Frewsburg, which Relief Zone, located right there in the community where people are, is really important. So.
I sat on lots of think tanks over the years, and I remember there was always two issues that came up in the county.
Childcare and
transportation. Oh my gosh. See, it's no
Still
different.
true.
It's still
It's
like
still
that,
true.
yeah.
Nothing has
Yep.
changed.
And
Nothing
I
has
just
changed.
I just find it interesting now we call them deserts. You know,
Yeah.
even where I live in Ripley, it's considered a food desert.
Oh, definitely,
You know, because we don't have supermarkets.
Right.
You know, in our town we've got little things, but nothing like that. All right, another group, which is one of my underwriters, is the Resource Center. Resource Center, and where I work for the BOCES, we were teamed. You know, we were always working together. The children would come out of their program, come into the BOCES, and from BOCES back to the Resource Center. So we always tried to find ways to work, and we just love the Resource Center, and we've had some of the folks on the show here to talk about their services. Winifred Crawford Diber?
It's the
Dieber?
Boys and Girls Club of Jamestown.
Who's Winifred?
She was a local woman, and she started a foundation, and so she just was always a supporter of the Boys and Girls Club, which was originally the Boys Club, as you might recall, back in the day. So.
And then the YWCA in Westfield, which is one of my groups that we work with, eliminating racism and empowering women.
Yeah.
Stephanie Stevens has been on the show, and she and I sit on some boards, and that's a great organization.
And the YWCA of Jamestown as well. It's on
Good.
there.
Okay. Oh, there it is. There's two of them. I see
There's
them
two
now.
of 'em, yeah.
Okay, I didn't even notice it. Okay, and then the final one I think is UCAN, and they really had their challenges in the last couple of years. And
Yeah.
Our sheriff used to work with them.
Yes, he was the executive director for a while.
And but tell us about UCAN, because I think it's more important than ever.
Well, they're the only emergency shelter in the entirety of Chautauqua County. We only have one, and it's for men, and they have about 18 beds. Now, there is one that's being opened in Jamestown for women and children. It's said to be hopefully opening by the fall. That's Chautauqua Opportunities that's opening that, so that's very, very encouraging. And we have some transitional housing programs that exist too, but they're not emergency shelter.
Okay.
So that is a real gap in services in our community, and there's nothing in northern Chautauqua County that is an emergency shelter at all. So if someone becomes homeless, oftentimes if they're in Dunkirk, then they're transported to Jamestown.
I won't go into the whole long story, but about a year ago I met a homeless person and gave him a lift, and I was just shocked to find out who they were, because I didn't even recognize them at the time. And I did a little research, and I was just dumbfounded that in this day and age, with all the resources and all these organizations, this person chose to be homeless. That was their decision, and it just was amazing to me that that would even take place. But it's more common than I realized. And so I think that there's still a lot of work to go there, and it's not an easy problem. It's not an easy fix. So I congratulate you and all the organizations that are attacking that issue, and not attacking it, but trying to deal with it. That, you know, it's important, and it's complex. I get it.
It really is. We recently facilitated a meeting of all the stakeholders involved in solving and addressing homelessness in Chautauqua County. So that was county officials, city government, nonprofits, and in fact the homeless themselves were part of this meeting. It was a one-day meeting, and the goal was to create alignment around addressing homelessness, but also to, by the end of the day, to come up with some pilots around this issue. And so we did that. We're actually working on the report now, which will hopefully be released to the Homeless Coalition and then the general public within about a month or so.
Well, I'll be interested to see that, because you know, a lot of people, they're naive, and that's not ignorant or stupid. They're just naive to this issue, that they don't realize that it's just not a matter of, well, just tell them go here or go there. It's more than that. There's mental health issues. There's
Substance
medication,
use disorder.
There's
Trust issues with agencies.
Yeah, and some of these people have gotten beat up. You know, really. So I wish you well on that, and it's certainly a need. And going back once more, Dan, if you weren't there, you wouldn't have had that meeting. Those people would never come to the table.
Right.
So good on you
Yeah,
guys.
and back to what Dan said about the behind the scenes. That's another example of that collaborative work that we do. There's problems in our community. You've already listed many of them, right?
Yeah.
Transportation, childcare, poverty, housing issues, substance use disorder. No one agency by themselves can solve those.
Right.
You have to have an agency like United Way bringing people together, and not just those nonprofits, but business, government, healthcare, school districts. A lot of times we're that convening agency that brings that sort of cross-sector group together to solve those issues. And really, you can only solve them, right, collaboratively and strategically.
So I went through that list. I think I covered everybody, and we put it up on the screen. 48 programs at 34 agencies. And you said you didn't have enough money to cover everybody else.
There's never enough money.
Never enough money.
There's never enough money. But I will say our goal for this year's fundraising campaign is $1.8 million.
Okay.
Now that is an aggressive goal, but that's the level of need, and we really believe that we have a community that has the capacity to raise that money. We really do.
All right, so you mentioned one way to do it is through payroll deduction. So people are watching right now and say, well, I'm willing to chip in a few bucks. So how would they do it?
Well, right now, there's actually a slide with a QR code.
Okay.
And if that QR code isn't working, you can actually just use your phone and text Stronger CHQ to 91999.
There you go.
Thank you, Dan.
Yeah.
And but you can certainly go on our website and donate through our website. You can send a check to either our Dunkirk or our Jamestown office. There's many ways to make a gift if you don't do it through payroll, or you don't have an employee or employer that does a payroll deduction campaign.
I remember when I worked at BOCES, we would, well, at Ripley too,
Yeah.
when I was superintendent there, we would do the payroll deductions, and someone would come out and do that. And it's painless, and it's tax deductible, right?
Yes, it is, yes. It's a little bit complicated because it changes to the tax code. So unless you're over a certain threshold, and you don't take the standard deduction.
But it can be.
It can be tax deductible.
But anyways,
yes.
it's good for everybody, and obviously 34 agencies really could benefit from that. One question, then we're going to go to the video. So see how I queued up Jeff on that?
Yep.
You say you raised $1.4 million last year?
Collectively, actually, it was 1.6 million between the
1.6
two
million.
United Ways,
Okay.
Northern and Southern.
All right, so
Yep.
now you're all one. So what happens to that money in the meanwhile?
In the meanwhile,
Yeah, where do you put the money, and what do you do with it?
well, we put it in our bank account.
All right. I mean, do you invest? People are saying, what do you, in other words, do you put it in stocks and mutuals
So-
and all that stuff? How do you, what do
So
you do with it?
no, because what happens is when we raise the money in the next fiscal year, we are giving it out. So we raise it and we give it out. So
Okay.
it doesn't really have time to do that. And it's not like it all comes at once, right? We get checks of
Drizzles in,
$25 and $50. And if someone's doing it through payroll, it could be $2 a week. So it's not like somebody collectively hands us a check for 1.6 million.
Foundations sometimes do investments.
Yes.
That's why I was asking. It's a little
Yeah,
different.
and we are and I think that's an important distinction, that although we make grants like a Northern Chautauqua Community Foundation or a Chautauqua Region Community Foundation, we are having to raise that money every year from the community. It's not just an endowment and we're taking the distribution on the
Right.
endowment. We are raising it. So we have to prove to our donors that their donations are having a measurable impact.
Okay.
Every year we have to prove it to them. And so all those agencies that you mentioned, and all of them that are on this list that's our brochure for this year, every 6 months they report data to us so that we can tell our donors exactly how many meals got served,
There you go.
exactly how many kids
Very
got
cool.
tutored, exactly how many kids got screened, exactly how many people got help through the Mental Health Association and that support, so that they know their donations are having a measurable impact.
Jeff put one of the pictures up, and it said 100% local. What does that mean, Dan?
That's a super important fact. So just a quick back up from that. Why it's important to me personally. I'm born and raised in Fredonia, went to Fredonia State. I'm very invested in my community. So for a young donor like myself, I want to know that my money is going to places that I personally know. And I think that's why it's right on the front of the brochure. The fact that it 100% stays local means all the money that we raise stays right in this county. It's not going off to United Ways of Buffalo or Michigan or wherever.
Yeah.
It's all staying right here. And I think that's important because it very well could be affecting people that all of us know, you know?
It does.
We all have needs.
Yeah.
You know, and as Amy said earlier, out of those 34 agencies, there's got to be something that's touched you in some way, shape, or form.
Well, like
Most
I said, we were
community
going to
members.
that list. I'm intimately familiar with at least
Yes.
a dozen of them,
Yep.
you know, over
Yep.
the years.
So that aspect of local, and I kind of mentioned it, but I think it's something specific to my generation, to a young donor, because I think that's ultimately something that United Way has been around for over 100 years for that reason, because we keep investing in the community. And I think it's important to focus on younger donors, you know, early to late 20s and so on, because again, for me, I want to know that I'm affecting something on a personal level.
And into the future.
And into the future, you know, I want to set up the next generation behind
There
me.
you go, plant those seeds, yeah.
Yeah, that aspect of being local is so important. That's why it's right on the front of the brochure.
Perfect.
Well, and and that's one of the reasons, you might have seen Dan's title, Northern Chautauqua Community Relations Coordinator.
Right.
When the two United Ways merged, it was really important to us to keep an office in Dunkirk and to have a staff person whose job it was to kind of keep the pulse on issues and relationships in Northern Chautauqua County. And that's what Dan does, is sort of making those connections with Northern Chautauqua County, with the communities of Dunkirk and Westfield and Ripley and Fredonia and, you know.
And looking over these agencies, many of these are county-wide, so that certainly makes sense. Let's go to the video that you brought.
Yeah, I'd love
Okay?
to do that.
So Jeff, whenever you're ready, you want to cue that up for us, and we'll have a look. Here it comes.
People think that they can do things alone, but I think you always need somebody to help.
As a society and as people, we need to recognize you're a human and I'm a human. We should be able to connect. Being able to connect with other people is what makes us human.
It is very important to give back because when you do, you open opportunities, you create opportunities for other families. We are stronger together. I'm from the Dominican Republic. I came to United States when I was 19 years old, so I didn't know anyone here. I knew no English when I came here, so I attended the English classes here at law school, and that's where I met Michelle. My children loved her. She helped me with my goals to now being able to work with other families and help them and help my community, create opportunities that they never thought they had. It feels good to give back.
Being tutored was definitely kind of a wake-up call for me. Coming to tutoring made me realize that you could always ask for help. There's always things to improve on. Lily was one of my first students. She was a little bit reserved, but I could tell she was so smart, and the reason that she was there was because she wanted to learn more and she wanted to be better at the things that she knew she was struggling with. The biggest change that I have seen in her is her confidence in herself and her willingness to be herself. There is nothing that feels better than knowing that you're making a difference in someone's life and having them make the same amount of a difference in your life.
Well, my wife was sick. I don't like to cook.
I was trying to come here after work and make food, and my mother was like, but I don't want to put that on you. The whole Meals on Wheels thing, she saw that she didn't want him to have to go through that. And I saw every day how much it meant to my parents to have this person come into their home and how great it was just to have that peace of mind when my mom passed away.
Well, it's pretty lonesome here.
And it's really nice to know that somebody's here every day.
Yeah.
Both of us, through our payroll deduction, always gave to the United Way because we felt it was very important. Nobody really looks into the future, but ultimately, in the end, you just might need whatever programs that the United Way offers.
Those of us that support the United Way, even those that don't, know people in the community, whether it's neighbors, family members, acquaintances that are benefiting from the work that United Way does. You may not think now that you have the need for support from an organization that the United Way is behind, but someday you might.
I think as an individual donor, you sometimes don't know where to put your money, you don't know how to help the agencies, you might have a passion for something, but you don't know how to help them. United Way kind of bridges that gap of bringing donors to places that need the funds. United Way makes that contribution into so much more. United Way just brings all of that together, and nobody else can do that.
you can give me 100%, and if I can give you 100%, we're unstoppable.
Una comunidad unida es una comunidad más fuerte y más segura. We are able to do all these amazing things because of you guys.
Just makes sense that if you're working together, you're going to help each other, and it's going to come out better.
We all get stronger together.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Jeff, for rolling that film. That was really, really good. You know, there was one word I heard in there, unstoppable. I love that term. You know, I've kind of told my kids that sort of thing over the years, is just don't let anything get in your way. Just keep going. And I like the older gentleman there. You know, he said it's kind of lonely. You know, and when you have Meals on Wheels, just for picking on one agency, I'm pretty familiar with the fact that they show up and they check on folks and, you know, how you doing today. It's more than just here's your food. You know, it's like a kind of a service that they do. And so we do some really good work in this county. And so this is just wonderful.
Well, I mean, Donald, the gentleman who got Meals on Wheels, he said something that I like very much. He said, it just makes sense that when you're working together, you're going to help each other and things are going to come out better.
So much of this is just common sense.
That's what we do at United Way. We help people work together so we can help more people.
We didn't answer one question, and sometimes I hold questions till the end. Why did you merge?
Well, that's a great question. We had been working together for years. Since I came to United Way, we'd been doing a lot of partnering anyway. That really amped up during the pandemic. The two United Ways during the pandemic, we actually started a Zoom call that was with all the county department heads and all the nonprofits, because if you remember in the early days of the pandemic, things were changing so fast.
Oh my gosh, yes.
So how you got help, you know, like how even like the county would be referring to a mental health or Meals on Wheels, what was happening with that? So we had a weekly call where we could just share information. That call continues to this day. It's not weekly, it's bi-monthly, but having that time and space for county government department heads and local CBOs and nonprofits to work together.
Believe it or not, here at the studio, we were part of the spin-off of a lot of that. We were doing lots of public service announcements.
Yeah, oh, for sure.
Where to get your vaccines, how to use a mask, don't do this, don't, you know, and so we were working with Bob Burke and all those folks, you know, so in the health department, so yeah.
Well, and so then, you know, pandemic, we kind of amped up our partnership, and then a couple of years later, we had a shared position. So our finance person was our employee 75% of the time, and then it was theirs 25% of the time,
by little,
right?
It was starting to,
and then it just made sense this next year when their executive director left to start to have those conversations about a merger. So it was really just, in some ways, the most natural step to take was to have one United Way. So
sounds like it's better and stronger now.
it is. I think we have more capacity, more innovation, deeper community impact, which is what we're about, and it's really been great. It's actually, just to get a little technical, all of our boards and our organizations have done all that we have to do, but the New York State Attorney General does have to sign off on all nonprofit mergers. Our paperwork has been filed, but that process takes 6 to 9 months. So that's why we're running our campaign as the United Ways of Chautauqua County. By this time next year, it will be the United Way of Chautauqua County.
Well, I know it seems hard to believe, but we're down to about the last minute or so. So
It's
Dan,
amazing.
I'm going to give you 30 seconds, and we'll let Amy finish up. What do you want people to know? How to get a hold of you? Whatever you want to say.
Well, as Amy said, we are across the county now. We've got an office in Dunkirk, and we've got an office in Jamestown.
Where's your office?
So it's on Central Avenue, right kind of kitty corner from Brooks Hospital. So if you want to reach me at that office, you can call 716-366-5424.
One more time? 36?
716-366-5424.
You memorized it finally.
I did. Before the show, I was sitting with my phone like, don't forget it.
You'd be surprised how many people forget their own office numbers or whatever. Okay, so you're kind of up in there in the north, keeping track of things. Okay, so great, and I'm glad you've been part of the organization, and we'll get you back on the show at another time.
I would love that.
All right, Amy, you get the last word here.
If someone has never considered donating to United Way, I would just ask that they consider it. Likely a program has touched their lives. They want those programs there when they need it. If they want to get a hold of me in the Jamestown office, it's 716-483-1561, and we would love to answer any questions people have about needs in the community or how they can help.
Excellent. Well, I wish you the very best in your campaign, and I am sold. When I look at all these organizations, this is a county-wide initiative. This isn't just one end or the other. So thanks for coming by, and you know, after you get merged, give me a call and let's see where you are in a year or so.
We'll
okay?
solve all the problems.
Folks, you've been watching Chautauqua Sunrise, and my guests today have been Amy Rohler, the Executive Director of the United Ways of Chautauqua County, soon to be United Way, and Dan Siracuse, what's your title?
Community Relations Coordinator.
Out of the Dunkirk office, but you're all Chautauqua County,
yes,
right?
You got
and
it.
your logo this year is Stronger Together.
That's right.
Stronger together.
We're going to do this all next week. Halloween. Be safe out there. Watch out for those little monkeys that are running around in those dark costumes and all that sort of thing. And we'll talk to you. I don't even know what we're talking about next week. I can't remember. I think, is it November? It's November already, a new month. So anyways, take care and enjoy the nice weather we're having here in the county. Bye now.
Thank you.